I am Frankie Drinks Moreno, and welcome to episode 15. We're so glad that you are back with us. So happy that you guys are checking in from all over the US and all over the world, from Mexico to Norway. We see you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I've got a great show today, some amazing guests. And without further ado, let's see what's on the menu for our happy hour tonight. We have what's a happy hour with a cocktail. We have the Hilo Old Fashioned, and that's made with our sips for the evening, our Abasolo, el Whisky de Mexico, and our Nyxta ancestral corn liqueur as well. So happy to have that. And I have two wonderful guests. I have Camille Austin from Casa Lumbre Spirits, and she is the Director of Advocacy for the brands. I also have Mr. Joey Drew, who is the Director of our Global Creative Department for Drew Estate. And that's a siren, so don't worry. It's just security. It's all good. Uh, and then our feature cigar for the evening is the Leather Rose. So if you guys have, I know you've heard a lot about it, and here it is. Part of the Deadwood series, in addition to our Sweet Jane, Fat Bottom Betty, our Crazy Alice, now we introduce Leather Rose. And this is going to be a great show where we celebrate Leather Rose, and you guys are getting it out into the market right now as I speak. And so make sure you get your hands on this beautiful representation of our Deadwood tobacco. And with that, let me check into the Zoom lounge real quick. And I want to say hello to Miss Camille Austin from Casa Lumbre. Camille, how are you?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Hola.
Hola, it's good to see you. So I want to thank you for being part of Sticks and Sips. Like for 15 weeks, I have been on every single night. So going almost on 4 months. They don't give me a break. I don't know about Casa Lumbre. I think Casa Lumbre gives you a little bit of break, but at Drew State, I'm happy to be here for 15 episodes, and it's been amazing, truly amazing. And so I welcome you to the program.
That's
Next up,
well, I'm
I
so
have,
happy.
oh, thank you. Next up, I've got our Drew Estate Izzy. You know, she needs no introduction because she is Drew famous, as I like to call it. And she's our Texas rep. She's our specialty liquor specialist. I keep on forgetting Izzy. Hook me up
Retail
here.
specialist. I am the
Retail.
retail specialist for Specs of Texas.
All right, so a lot of Texas pride coming through there. She's and it's so happy to have her back on, and so welcome.
Thank
Glad to
you.
have you on.
Glad to be
And next up, I've got a special guest, someone Camille might know, Mr. Carlos Cuarta, all the way from Illinois. Carlos, what's going on?
Hi, guys. Thank you, Fran, again for your invite. Glad to be here. Glad to be on this meeting panel, whatever, with Camille Austin.
Don't
And
don't steal my
my
thunder.
new
Don't
friend
steal my
here,
thunder.
and my new friend here, we are going to be sipping Mexican whiskey and having a little bit of Mexican elote liqueur. Guys, fasten your belts.
We're in for a ride. Anytime that Carlos joins us, it's a great thing, and super happy that you're here, Carlos. And so, you know what? Let me start by talking about our happy hour cocktail. So let's go to that cocktail. The Hilo Old Fashioned is real super simple, guys. As if you make your old fashions at home, you got 2 ounces of Abasolo whiskey. You got a half ounce of the Nyxta liqueur, so you don't need to use a sweetener, and a little Angostura bitters. And let's show the directions there, Mr. Producer. So all you got to do is combine all the ingredients, the Abasolo, the Nyxta, the bitters, into a mixing glass. You want to add ice. You want to stir till it's cold and super diluted, and then you want to pour it over some fresh ice. I've got my own, and that slows down the dilution. And you want to do a little lemon and a little orange in it. And we've got a video of me making that lovely, lovely cocktail. So super excited to show it to you because last week I missed it. So basically, always use some great ice. Abasolo is so wonderful, and we're gonna talk about it in depth. And that's me spilling a good quarter ounce off the glass, and then a little mixed Nyxta corn de elote as it's corn liqueur, a little Angostura bitters, and you want to give it a good stir. I believe. I believe somebody said you stir 15 one way and 15 the other. You stir till you get it, and make sure you get some fresh orange and some fresh lemon. It makes it a great addition to the cocktail. Gives it a really beautiful aroma as you're sipping your cocktail. And there it is. That's your Hilo Old Fashioned, and here's mine. So I hope you had a chance to make it. So I'm gonna take a little sip. And as I'm taking a little sip, I want to introduce my much honored guest. We have Camille Austin from Casa Lumbre. Welcome, Camille.
Hello, thank you. Salucita.
Salud. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have you on the show. Camille goes back into like 305 legend. She was probably one of the one of the leading female mixologists in Miami while we were having our big our craft cocktail revival or birth. Even better said, because we didn't have a revival prior to that. We had this great birth of cocktails, and Camille was a foundational point in that when she was working at Hakkasan. And one of the things I forgot, because this show is so crazy, I'm so excited about having you on, that we have a drawing for these lovely cutters, Peppy Van Winkle cutters. All they have to do is ask a question. So you can ask Frankie Drinks, and I know you're going to have a ton of questions for me, for Carlos, but more importantly for Camille. So Camille, get ready. We're going to have these great questions being asked. So make sure hashtag Ask Frankie Drinks, and we're going to pick your 5 questions at the end of the show, and we'll answer them. But without further ado, Camille, welcome.
Thank you so much. Well, those were really amazing times in Miami. I actually still have a 305 number many, many years later. I live in Los Angeles right now, but Miami is very close to my heart always. And I've really been working with this incredible Mexican company for the last 7 years called Casa Lumbre. And basically what we do is we just really focus on the biological patrimony of Mexico and take these incredible raw materials, agave, chilies, and corn and beyond, and transform them into spirits. So it's been a really, really great experience.
Well, I'm going to add a little bit here. I see Camille infrequently these days. She's been traveling the world representing these amazing brands, and I definitely remember Tales of the Cocktail and meeting Dr. Ivan Saldana and the founder of Montelobos. And that's where we kind of like you started working for Montelobos early on. And tell us about that experience, because I think that kind of leads us to Abasolo down the road. Oh, there you go.
Absolutely. Well, once a loba, always a loba. I did have the opportunity to work about 5 years specifically on our first brand, which was Montelobos. And Ivan today, I mean, it's been such a treat to work with him and to kind of learn from him every day. He is actually our Chief Innovation Officer. So he's also the master distiller and producer for Abasolo and Nyxta Licor de Lote, our newest babies. But he has a PhD in biochemistry with a kind of an expert focus on agave. So that was definitely, one of his first loves when it comes to raw materials. And he created in 2011 Montelobos, and I came on board shortly thereafter. I believe it was 2013. and I've been working with the company ever since. So it's been an incredible journey. And now mezcal as a category has kind of grown into this really kind of global acclaimed spirit, even though it's been around for centuries, and it's been really beautiful to see the world embracing it.
Well, I've got my bottle of Montelobos here because number one, I want to say, go ahead, do it. Do it. So if you guys know, La Loba means the she wolf. So and she definitely is a she wolf. And I was trying to remember what year. So 2013, I think Tales of the Cocktail, probably God knows where. We're walking down the street with Dr. Saldana, and he's such a wonderful person. And I want to thank you for extending something that you're amazing with, which is your amazing hospitality, to join you guys. And I remember just walking down the street and just hearing him talk about agave was probably one of the most life-changing events for me. Just to hear that love and passion and knowledge in that, and that's something that you as a mixologist have always brought to the table. So let's talk a little bit about your background as a mixologist. If you want to use that term, or bartender, but regardless, one of the best ever. Period.
Well, thank you. I mean, I definitely think that I was also, before being a mixologist, I was also always a host. I really, really love connecting people. And it's something that's kind of always been a part of me since early on, since I started in Miami. I learned how to bartend in Miami, actually. So it's a very special place. And I learned how to, like you said, we kind of got into that the craft cocktail movement, and using fresh ingredients and making our own syrups and all of that sort of thing. And it was a really beautiful experience. And I think something that I definitely continue to use today in my job as an ambassador, and now as, a person of advocacy. I mean, I just really still love to connect people. And I think that is what these spirits are all about. That's what our culture is all about. And I think it's important not to lose sight of that.
Well, hospitality is one thing that having been around here and back in, I'm gonna go back a little while to 2011, the local paper puts out a great article highlighting female mixologists, and Camille was one of the features in that. Bridget DeBardinis was also in there, Cricket Nelson, and I'm trying to remember the fourth one, but uh, these ladies were making making their stamp on the world, and taking their take on cocktails, and something that all men have to realize is that, listen, ladies, you guys have a better palate than us, and so always trust what they're perceiving in that. So in that, I want to say, for your incredible dedication to the industry, and seeing you work with Montelobos, and now seeing you work with Abasolo, has been, in Spanish is orgullo. So we're very proud of you, and proud that you spent your time here in my hometown, and now you're representing these amazing spirits. So what could be more exciting?
Well, thank you. Muchas gracias, Frank. That's very sweet.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm going to ask my producer, because I made a slide and we never show it. So if we get that slide of Camille and Casa Lumbre, I mean, she's definitely an amazing person. And if we could follow that up with the sips slide. So here's Abasolo and Nyxta as well. So we're talking about 100% ancestral corn whiskey, as well as an 100% ancestral corn liqueur. So Camille, I'm going to ask you, let's talk about Abasolo first. Let's talk about that process.
Yeah, I mean, so Abasolo, it's funny because we decided to go ahead and launch these two brands. They've been for a long time, as many love passion projects are in the making. And then the pandemic happened. We had a scheduled launch for May. And we had to kind of take a little pause internally and decide whether we were going to go forward with our scheduled launch. So we decided to do so, and we decided to change the way that we launched a little bit. So we found a great organization to partner with, called Another Round, Another Rally. And we are donating from now until the end of August, or from May rather, when we launched, until the end of August. 100% of our global proceeds are going to the hospitality industry. We just thought that it was the only way that we could launch in this situation. Given that, you know, our past life with Montelobos and liqueurs like Ancho Reyes has been so deep rooted, and our success, a lot of it has been really kind of rooted in the on-premise, in the bartenders. So that was really important for us. But we've been thinking about corn, some sort of corn distillate, for years. I mean, for at least 6 years, Ivan has been really learning a lot about this raw material. And it's important to note also, because when you have a very small entrepreneurial Mexican company and you work with somebody like Ivan Saldaña and our other co-founders, who are Danny Schneeweiss and Moises Gindi, these guys are always, I mean, they're visionaries. They're always kind of open to exploring new things, new flavors, just really raw materials that are very, very representative of Mexico. And I think it was a natural progression after agave and chiles to look into corn, because Mexico's the birthplace of corn. You know, it originated more than 10,000 years ago with this wild grass called teocintle. And it became corn because our ancestors started to domesticate it. But it's in everything. I mean, we don't realize how much corn is in every single thing that we eat. Here in the US, if we, you know, spent a little bit of time kind of looking at all of the ingredients and a lot of the packaged foods that we buy, there's literally corn in so many things. It's impressive. And in Mexico, we have, you know, between about 60 to 7 different varieties of corn, of endemic native corn. So we chose one beautiful variety to make Abasolo. And I guess the second tier of the project was that in order to really dedicate the attention and the care that we wanted to, you know, try this project out, essentially, because this is not a category in Mexico that really existed at the time. And we're not the first ones to make a Mexican whiskey. We are definitely not the first ones to launch, but it's a very, very tiny base, and every one of them has, you know, different regions and different different processes. They're just completely distinct. So I think that it's definitely started this conversation about exploring, you know, these native flavors, and making spirits that are really talking to the raw material as opposed to the rest of the process.
Well, let me say that I've got a little echo there. So let me say that there is something when we're tasting this, and I've got my Abasolo neat, and it has such a wonderful nose. I mean, first of all, there is something called nixtamalization. So it's a 4,000-year-old process. And if you could kind of help me understand what that means when we're talking about creating a whiskey, because this is a brand new experience. And I think we've got a lot of people that love whiskey, that love cigars, that are tuning in and really want to explore all different avenues. And this is the newest street that they can go down. So tell us a little bit about what nixtamalization is and how how you use it in the process of Abasolo.
Definitely. And I mean, I think, you hit the nail on the head. This is, well, first of all, deciding on the strain of endemic corn that we were going to use was very much a process that Ivan went through. He kind of explored almost 15 different types of corn. He used, I remember him telling me the story about how he was at one point kind of working with maíz palomero, that's like this popcorn maize, and it's got a lot more oils, and these are sometimes flavors and aromas that we don't want to translate into the end spirit. But he ended up on one type of native corn to this region called cacahuacintle. So cacahuacintle is this really beautiful kind of white hominy style corn that's used in a very typical dish that I love called pozole. It's a soup stew style dish. And when you talk about maize, in any Mexican kitchen, a natural progression is to talk about nixtamalization, nixtamalization. When we think about Mexican cuisine, this is, like you said, it's a 4,000-year-old technique that's been passed down to generations, and it's simply taking the grain and soaking it in an alkaline solution, letting it boil, and then cooling it and letting it soak in this water. This process really allows this solution, which the only thing that's in there is water, grain, maize in this case, and cal viva, which is like a quicklime. It's a kind of a chalky solution, and it'll just break down the pericarp of the brain of the green, allowing all of the flavor and all of the aroma to be exposed. So imagine, I mean, it's really natural in Mexican cuisine to think, I'm going to take these dried chiles that I have and I'm going to toast them on my comal to really enhance that flavor. And the same thing is done in nixtamalization with this soaking bath. So you're really exposing all of that flavor potential of the corn, and that is really what you're getting here, on the aroma. We are also, I think this was something so groundbreaking that Yvonne thought of, because we're the first ones to do it that we know of in a spirit. Hopefully we're not the last. Hopefully, again, it awakens a new conversation where we're using these ancient techniques to really push the boundaries of everything that we can do with raw materials and transform them into spirits, because this really is one of those defining factors that makes Abasolo so unique. I mean, it's important to note that this is not, this is a Mexican whiskey, but one shouldn't expect it to taste, like an American whiskey or like a Japanese whiskey. It smells and it tastes like Mexico. What do you think, Frank?
Well, I absolutely think that it does. When people ask, is that really close to like corn whiskey? And corn whiskey in the U.S. is a beautiful product. It kind of smells a lot like popcorn when you pop it. It hasn't been aged. It is new make, and it is quite wonderful. This is something that's a lot more complex. It has a beautiful nose to it, and I think that it was. I get the beautiful task of having to come up with pairings of these beautiful products, and I thought, well, I think our Deadwood is a wonderful pairing for it, because their aromas are so rich, and then on the flavor profile, it is at first, it's incredibly savory to start, but then it grows on complexity, and that's one of those great things that I think that a lot of our whiskey lovers are going to want to explore, this new take on whiskey, and I salute you guys for being so bold to bring something new, something so ancestral to us. For those of you guys that are making tamales at home, you're gonna buy you're gonna buy corn corn masa, but it's been nixtamalized. That's not easy to say. I wish it was an easier word for it, but it truly is wonderful. It definitely changes it. And you guys go on Abasolo, I believe it's abasolowhiskey.com. You can see the entire process as it's done, and you could really dig deep, and you guys do a great job. Now I want to talk about the lovely image behind you, because everyone's going, what is that? This ultra modern, incredible building behind you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Definitely. Well, this building behind me is actually our distillery. So something else that we're also doing very different is that, this is, even though it's a category that is very well loved and embraced by Mexicans. I mean, there is amazing whiskey consumption and a culture of whiskey drinkers in Mexico. We just hadn't gotten around to making our own whiskey, given that we have such incredible corn. But Ivan also decided that in order to make, the first nixtamalized corn whiskey from Mexico, we needed to build a dedicated distillery for only whiskey production. So this distillery, the building that you have behind me, is where we actually distill, where we receive the grain. We work with 3 local families without any intermediaries to receive our grain, and there's a little technique in the cutting process with this big cacahuacintle corn that's called descabezado. It has to be all done by hand. So this means that they have to kind of slice it with a little contraction that turns the corn in order to take off all the grains, take off the tip, because all of these parts are where those, that concentration of oils are. And then we receive the grain already dried for us, and we distill in this building. This was actually the brainchild of a really great Mexican architect called Lorenzo Alvarez. And the place that this is located at is very strategic as well. So this type of corn that we're using, cacahuacintle, is native to this specific region. So this is, we're here in Jilotepec, Estado de Mexico. So it's about an hour and 15 to 20 minutes outside of Mexico City. It's very close to the Nevado de Toluca, so it's a big volcano. This is a very high distillery. It's probably within the top 10 highest altitude distillery or whiskey distilleries in the world. This is about 7,800 to 8,000 feet above sea level. So this corn only grows 2,000 meters above sea level. So you already need this very specific climate to grow this corn. And this is where we distill. And then right across from this, we have a beautiful open air bodega. So this is called Destilería y Bodega Abasolo.
Well, I can't wait for everyone, to be past COVID, because I definitely want to go see, the distillery, and I'm looking so forward to it. We have some amazing partners, and one of the things that we were chatting about earlier is like, as people are asking on Facebook, where can I get Abasolo? And the good news is that we have ABC in Florida. We have Binny's in the Chicago area, Illinois. We have Specs in Texas, and also Total Wine, which I believe 9 states in Total Wine where they're available. So guys, if you don't get it there, ask for it. There's still spots that will ship it to you. Give it a try. It's just such an amazing experience. And again, you're tasting 4,000 years of ancestral process going into making this, and coming from the minds that brought Montelobos and Ancho Reyes to you, and having the wonderful Camille Austin being its director of advocacy. So guys, give it a shot. Camille, I want to thank you for being on Sticks and Sips. Don't go anywhere. I'm not letting you off the hook just yet, but any last words? I know we didn't talk about Nyxta, so liqueur de elote. So tell us quickly about the Nyxta.
Well, Nyxta is our licor de lote, our corn liqueur. It's 30% ABV. We make it in the same distillery that's right here behind me. And the base of Nyxta is that new make, or commonly known as white dog, that distillate that we use in Abasolo. So you get a lot of that beautiful nixtamalized cacahuacintle corn. We then do a maceration with some fresh corn mash and add a little bit of piloncillo. So here you're getting this beautiful sweet corn, almost pan de lote like sensation. And this works phenomenal in cocktails. In the old fashioned that you're having, it just kind of really brightens up that very whiskey forward cocktail.
And if you're wondering what Hilo old fashioned means, Hilotepec, no?
Correct. The hill of corn it's a Nahuatl word or name, and it translates to the hill where the corn flowers.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'm super excited. I'm almost done with mine. So I will keep sipping. And I want to thank you for being part of Sticks and Sips, Camille. And I hope to see you sooner than later in person because you're one of my favorite people ever.
Muchas gracias. Salud.
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 So, hey, I want to say thanks to Camille for being, I mean, just there's so much to talk about, something that's so new into the world. And I'm glad you're here with us to share it. So salud to Camille, salud to Casa Lumbre for making something so new for us to experience. And with that, talking about new experiences, I want to introduce my next guest, who is no stranger to Montelobos. Let's so
actually, I want to try that mixto with the Montelobos. That would make an amazing cocktail.
So I will tell you this, Joey, hold up your bottle because, you know, we're bottle brothers. We kind of went down this crazy road of mezcal a bunch of years ago.
And we're still on it.
And we're still on it. Yes, absolutely. It's a long, long road. I want to introduce the director of global creative for Drew Estate, my very esteemed friend, Joey Drew.
So, no one has ever said esteemed before they said my name before, so thank you.
That is true. So I wanted to do something special for you on this very special occasion. Now, for those of you guys watching, Joey's part of our Zoom Lounge crew every week, and we're super honored by that. But today, Joey, I wanted to bring you on and kind of give you a little bit of a spotlight. So, you know, there's a lot of people that know you. There's a lot of people that don't know you. So, so introduce yourself to the people that don't know you.
All right. Creative director, that's the title. But more than that, I've been part of a 20-year-long team that has changed, but never faltered in coming up with amazing new products. You know, spearheaded by JD, who everybody knows. You know, I've been the guy behind the scenes where I like to play, behind the shadows and the curtain, doing what I do, to bring things to market, to bring other people's ideas and fantastic things to life. And that's what you're showing in front of you there, another version of that in Deadwood Leather Rose.
Well, that's, you know, it's kind of, you know, this Deadwood Leather Rose. I mean, a whole Deadwood cigars for us has caught fire, you know. But before I go there, I want to just remind everybody, make sure that you ask your questions. And I know you got some coming because after Camille's amazing explanation of Abasolo and Nyxta, plus what Joey's going to offer up, I mean, you guys are going to have your questions. So make sure you got them ready, submit them. Hashtag Ask Frankie Drinks. This amazing
Ask Isola.
Ask Isola, yes. You know, every time I do this, I feel like I'm going to slice off a fingertip or something. But you know, I love the Zycar cutter. So with that, Joey, you kind of just, you know, you segued right into where I wanted to go, which was tell, you know, about Leather Rose, but more importantly, the story of Deadwood. So you know, tell everybody a little bit about the story of Deadwood.
Well, the history of the brand itself starts with Vaughn Boyd, who owned Deadwood Tobacco in Deadwood, in Dakotas. We started making a private label cigar for her a decade ago, for Sturgis mainly at the beginning, and then for her store. We came up with the idea for Sweet Jane. That was the first of the wild girls that we've been rolling out. And there is a historical story behind many of the girls. There is a real person that it's tied to in history. How much of it is real or folklore, etc. You have to decide and dig for yourself. But it's a great story. It tells of the region, that crazy, wild, gamblers, prostitutes, and the like, and thieves, who we all seem to gravitate towards when we're smoking cigars or drinking something interesting. And that's where that brand was born, from that spot. And the imagery is the imagery. I mean, biker culture, of course, because it's tied to around where Sturgis is. Using the imagery that we use it's just a perfect match for that sort of thing. And it's just cool. People love that look. Who doesn't like that look? You see it in tattoos all over the place. People, dress up as Halloween like that. So it's just a fun way to represent the brand and the girls in a unique way.
Well, I think so. I mean, this is the perfect time to tell us the story of Leather Rose. So, we have a she-wolf, we have a La Loba. So let's tell the story of Leather Rose.
Leather Rose, man. I mean, all of the girls in the Deadwood line have their interesting story. Leather Rose was, I can't even remember off the top of my head the original name that she went by, but she was another one of these really rambunctious gals who got into all sorts of trouble, bank robbing, heists of all kinds, running in and out of saloons and bordellos in the Deadwood region and other parts of the West. So that's her story. Is she was a wild, tough girl that many men fell prey to. And I would say that the line that we use for most of Deadwood is love is for suckers, cigars are for lovers. So that's indicative of, I think, all the girls, and very much so with Leather Rose. If you got caught in her web, it was probably not going to end well for you.
Well, I'm going to hold up of that one. So love is for suckers,
That's right. We've all been there, right?
But I'm not going to address any of the prostitution, bordellos,
We've
bank
all had our heart
robbing.
broken.
And I find it quite funny that both Camille and Isola are grinning enormously when we said those very dangerous descriptors. So with that, Joey, I'm going to ask for everybody that's out there, because what makes this cigar so awesome? I mean, because number one, it's I believe 5x54. We can call it a bellicoso or torpedo in shape, I guess, but
Yep.
It is so aromatic. And tell me what's going on. In fact, before you do that, let's throw up that slide of the Leather Rose. So we're talking about Brazilian Maduro wrapper, Indonesian binder, and Nicaraguan filler. And let's talk about that flavor profile, Joey.
I mean, Isola, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah.
You've smoked a handful, and I know you can probably get some better descriptions than I will.
You obviously paid attention to my female palates have a much greater perception piece, so I honor you in that. Go ahead, Izzy.
So the first time I smoked this cigar was actually at breakfast. I had it with coffee, and it is amazing. It's sweet, it's earthy, it's got spice notes, it's got everything that you would want in a cigar. I think the cocktail tonight that we pair with this is brilliant. It's a beautiful selection. Again, I really like this cigar. This is now one of my go-tos. It's a great cigar to have. I can get real technical and tell you it's going to have the pepper here, and you're going to hit the sweetness about midway, and then you're going to get hit again with some earthiness. But aside from that, it's just a damn good cigar. So sit your ass down, enjoy it, and appreciate her.
She dropped the first curse word. You know, I would have put my money on Camille, but it was like, Izzy, she said ass. You know,
It's not really a curse word.
mind you, I know exactly. You know, because you could be referring to something else, but it's okay. You know, we're kind of free here, but with those things, and you know, as I've got mine here, it's such an amazing aroma that's coming off of this, you know, and when people light a Deadwood, they go, it's so smoky at the beginning. Joey, what's all that about? Because I mean, I do believe that brings the entire aroma,
Yeah, there's an
smell and
aromatic,
taste.
yeah, there's an aromatic quality to it that just reinforces the rest of the blend, that really brings out that richness of the Nicaraguan blend and of the Maduro wrapper. It just amplifies things in a very unique way that not a lot of other people do. And that's what makes it enjoyable. It's very approachable. It's not an aggressive cigar in any way. So when you talk about these flavors that are very bold in nature, it's still very much an approachable cigar. And that's why you see so many people gravitating towards it, and it's in their rotation. Even the female crowd of cigar smokers, which, you know, is small in comparison to the male group, is really gravitated toward that flavor profile. And of course the girls too, they ride up behind that, they feel it, they feel the impact, you know, it's a good charge to get out of it. You're like, yeah, I'm one of the girls, you know, and even the guys who smoke it feel that way. I think I'm one of the girls.
Listen, I think if you're riding with Deadwood, you know who you are, and it's become an incredibly popular brand for us as Drew Estate. It's a beautiful representation of a cigar. It's not your standard traditional cigar. It's not your infused cigar. It lies in what we call non-traditional, but it's a beautiful representation. And as I was saying with Camille earlier, I thought it was just a great, you know, the minute that I tried the Abasolo, it was like, yes, this is where we want to go with this. And it's a wonderful pairing for it. Again, your palate's going to tell you. But Joey, I would say, listen, I mean, this is the first time you've got the floor here, you know, for the first time. Because usually, you know, I try to cut you out, you know, into the last few minutes of the show. And Camille, just so you know, Joey has a very small segment, which I give him 30 seconds every time, called the Mezcal Minute. So, you know, but it's usually about 30 seconds. But Joey, you've got the floor, man. You are my special guest tonight. So give us a Drew Estate story, man, because I think people have been dying like, I want to hang with Joey Drew. I want to hear his stories about JD. I want to hear this. I want to hear that. You know, I want to hear about Joey and Frank running around Orange Drive in Orlando at 2:00 in the morning looking for an open Checkers. So all those type of stories that
was the world's most largest Checkers.
The world's largest Checkers. It was 2 stories,
and it was at like 2 in the morning or so that we got there, and that's where bad decisions are made. You know, it's at 2:00 if you find yourself in a Checkers, no good is going to come of it. But we made the best of it. You know, we have a memory.
I believe that decisions made at 2 a.m. are wonderful. What they come out at 7 a.m. may be very, very different. So
yeah, I mean, there's endless stories of ill repute.
so pick one and share it with us, because I've given you the floor. It won't be the same next week. It won't be.
You put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of them.
So let's you know what? Let's move this conversation. I'm going to give you your Mezcal Minute right now. So let's talk about.
All right. So, you know,
let's talk about Montelobos.
Yeah. Well, Camille brought up Ivan, who is absolutely a genius when it comes to spirits. and going into something brand new and doing something very different. And that's the amazing part. So I can't wait. I wasn't able to get the Abasolo prior to the show. I'm looking forward to it. But early on, of course, Montelobos was, and still is, a mezcal that must be on your shelf. It's on my shelf. It's constant. I love it. I love the, my favorite is, if I have to pick one, is the Tobalá. The Tobalá is outstanding. There you go. It's just a beautiful mezcal.
Snobs.
It is a snob. I'm actually drinking a different Tobalá tonight, though. I'm drinking the Banhez Tobalá because I have expensive tastes as well. But I'm really looking forward to the Abasolo to try that. But I'm also even more so in the Mixto, the one next to it. I'm really interested in that in a cocktail with mezcal. Also, I'm sure Camille has already played with this to find what's the perfect mix or blend of that. And I can't wait to see what comes of that, because that corn in a cocktail has got to be a very, very special thing that's brought to the table. You know, whether you use it, whether you macerate corn yourself, or you use this, it could be amazing. So I can't wait to dive into that level of, then you're bringing the two best parts of Mexico together. It's going to be a big boom, you know. The volcano will definitely go off when you mix the two together, and that's what I'm looking for.
Now, Joey, you know what you missed earlier, because you know, earlier on I was talking a little bit about about Camille being such an amazing bartender and having such an amazing palate, and I'm sure that we're gonna redefine the Oaxaca old fashioned here any minute now. You know, it'll have a total redefinition and reinterpretation. But more importantly is I'm going to tell a story. So we go to a local spot in Miami. It's new, and I'm going to give them a shout out. It's Finca over. It's super West Dade. You know, this is like, you know, a food desert way out. So if anybody in Miami is tuning in, Eileen Andrade did an amazing job of bringing in fusion cuisine. She did Cuban, Peruvian, and Korean fusion cuisine, and all plus craft cocktails. And so she's done it for I believe they just celebrated 6 years, and she gives it such honor to it. And I remember being with Joey and with at that time, I'm not going to mention who, but we were talking to newbies, and they were like, "Oh well, what are we going to drink?" And Joey says, "Mezcal Negronis."
Yeah.
And so we did Mezcal Negronis with Montelobos, because we were like so cool. You know, we were the bleeding edge of drinkers, you know. But the best part of it was the people trying it for the first time experienced something so amazing, and and I think every time that you're experienced something new, you hold it close to your heart. You know?
Yeah, and the thing too, it's still amazing because after now several years of drinking mezcal predominantly, the smokiness, and I don't know if Camille could even speak to that, is the smokiness that is there and very prevalent at the beginning of this journey of mezcal seems to disappear a little bit over time. Now I drink mezcal, I almost taste no smoke at all. I taste everything else. But when you put it in a cocktail, when you put the Montelobos in a Negroni, it comes roaring right back. It's like, there it is. And then it makes that cocktail so much more memorable to the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, you know, once you really start experiencing and discovering mezcal as one of the most diverse categories, you get past the smoke. It's just part of the process, but it's really not a big distinctive flavor in the mezcales that you're having. It's more so the terroir, the agave variety, the production processes that the mezcalero is using. And Ivan likes to say that all of those chemical compounds, when you mix them, you know, with citrus and with other ingredients, as if you, and also change the temperature in a cocktail, they'll completely transform. So it's just really interesting to see how it all changes.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And 100% must have clear ice. Just making that known right now. None of that cloudy refrigerator stuff. You must have a clear ice.
For all you guys that refer to me as the cocktail douche, you know, I will gladly pass that title on to you.
Thank you.
And so what I'm going to do right now is take a small commercial break where we're going to show a Leather Rose video if production has got that online. All right, so welcome back. You know, I'm glad you guys. So I want to do, you know, a little shout out to our global creative team, which Joey's the head of, making that amazing video for Leather Rose, and I know the guy that did it. So shout out to David Torres, just to inflate his ego a little bit. So cheers to you, David, for being an amazing artist in your own right. And now I want to go into the Zoom lounge, you know, and where everybody gets unmuted and nobody knows what's going to happen. So, Izzy, you've been quiet over there, you know, but you've been leather rosing it, you know. So, what do you got to say?
I am just enjoying these beautiful cocktails, having my gorgeous cigar. I'm going to go outside here in a few moments and have my cigar because I'm sitting in the house. And I'm having a great Wednesday. It's Whiskey Wednesday. I got to hang out with a beautiful sister, Camille, tonight. So I'm excited because it's all about the girl power.
Girl power, because that's all, you know, that Sticks and Sips is all about the girl power. So
girl power.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And a perfect transition to Carlos. Carlos, what do you have to say about
speaking of girl power, Carlos Cuarta, all the way from Illinois. You know, still working on that haircut. It eventually will happen, but we were.
He might not. But talking about the girls, I am 1,001% power girl guy. Number one. Number two.
Number two, guys. He's been taking notes.
Abasolo and the girl next to me. Well, at least she's next to me here. All right. You will look so sexy with a cigar. And at the same time, Isola, what happened with your cigar? I don't see your cigar.
She's got it right there.
Right here. See,
yeah, but hey, no. You have to fight that.
No, it's hot. Carlos, it's hot in Texas, man.
It's hot. I have to wait till the sun goes down in Texas right now. Like right now, literally, it's 94 degrees still with a real feel of 104.
Right, 175 degrees outside. She can't go outside. It's bad for her skin.
Okay. I was wondering. Now I want to say a couple of things. For those that are watching your show and they want to have a little idea of the flavor of Abasolo, I will say it's like you having a really good quality moonshine with a corn whiskey. Now, saying what I say, I will say it this way. When I step into a whiskey distillery or a bourbon distillery, to me, it's like I'm having a cornbread, all right? But when you feel the Abasolo, if you are going to that restaurant that they made their own tortillas and you pass by the lady, and that's really nice aromas. Wow, that's amazing. Besides that, the mixability is amazing. I went with a different cocktail, no rocket science, Abasolo whiskey sour, okay? But my sugar is orgeat. My sugar element is orgeat, and I add black coffee, a teeny bit of black coffee. Let me tell you, that's delicious. Everything is around, but you get that corn, okay? That, what I will say is like the really nixtamalization aroma, because I am from Venezuela and we have a type of arepa that they do kind of the same process. Wow, this is rich, super rich, and a ton of flavor. And this is what happened in this guy. But when you mix it, it's delicious, delicious. But again, Camille, when are we going to see you having a cigar?
Right here.
There you go.
Yeah, but
There.
you are indoors. You can fire your cigar.
She's gonna give it to Ivan, and he's going to enjoy it at 8,000 feet of elevation at his distillery. And the most important part is, Carlos, we're gonna be there. Are you gonna be there with us?
Our trip to Oaxaca just got really extended now.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Well,
so
you
It's
got
gonna,
Camille,
it's going to be a trip with extensions. Okay, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3,
so,
phase
You're
4.
gonna need a
Of
bigger
course, it's gonna
bus.
be the recover.
so Camille, from
Okay.
episode 1, so we are now in episode 15. Episode 1, I said I'm going to go to Oaxaca when COVID-19 is done, when we have a vaccine and whatever. I'm going to go to Oaxaca. I'm going to go on an exploratory journey to experience the birthplace of mezcal, no? So all of a sudden, the group has grown from one person making exploratory journey to many, many people making exploratory journeys. And now we have several side trips. And I would say that visiting the
Oh, yeah.
Abasolo distillery would definitely be one of them.
We're flying into Mexico City. That's the first stop.
Hey, I have to say something. I never get the achievement of the cigar that you're featuring today, and then I pair my Abasolo with a Liga Privada number 9. I'm still waiting for my other cigar, to really see how
It's
it pairs with the
it,
Abasolo.
it's coming, and I will say, Carlos, you're one of my favorite people, one of my favorite mixologists. For guys, if you ever have the opportunity
Thank-
to be in front of Carlos, he has an
Thank you.
amazing palate, except when he uses Malort, which he
Here we
tends
go.
Hey,
he tends to sneak in every now and then. But
really? That is gonna be forever? Come on.
Izzy's from Chicago. She knows. So,
Wait a minute, I
Izzy,
know. You know what? I actually think that Carlos introduced me at Up Down. He probably doesn't know. It wasn't Malort, it was rum. He was at Up Down.
Diplomatico run, I guess.
Diplomatico.
That's what he introduced me to at Up Down at an event. And it went just good, not bad. It went so good after that.
It's 6 degrees
to
of
hear that.
separation, and Camille, let me tell you this one. 6 degrees of separation. Me to Carlos, to Manny Pena, right? To Diplomatico, to Izzy, right?
Yep.
Bad news in every single degree of separation. All of it. All of it bad. All of it bad. But it's awesome to have you. Carlos, tell me what's your take on Abasolo? I mean, I know you love you talk about a lot of Mexican spirits, mezcals included, añejados, and all those great things. Tell me about Abasolo.
Okay. I love whiskey. All right. It's another spirit that I love. I love American whiskey. And I love whiskey in all different ways, Irish, whatever. I had the opportunity to have a different Mexican whiskey before. And and this is nothing biased, because I like to be open and really honest about what I feel. Abasolo, when I try, I say, shit, this is like you having a a taquiza with a good tortilla. And then I start to sip it and sip it and sip it. It's really nice and rounded to me. The raw material is so there and really important that I understand the process of the nixtamalization, that the process of the nixtamalization which really enhance and make shines the raw material, which is the heirloin corn, the cacahuacin, is totally, totally there. You have to take it easy when you have the first, I would say the first glass, not the first sip, the first glass, because after that it's gonna be love in different way. It's in some ways it's part of Mexico in a glass. It's part of the cultural foundation and identity of Mexico in this liquid, in this guy. All right. Why? Because the heirloin corn and the flavors and the process. And I know Ivan for many, many years before even he have a Montelobos. And he is amazing guy as a person, but as a science guy, he got really deep, and I have no doubt of the success of the previous brands and the one that we are testing today, that including the Nyxta, which is here, which is amazing. And I know that he's cooking some other new projects. Uh, Amazing. I really recommend the product, but again, don't expect to have the heat of the regular whiskey. Doesn't matter if we're talking about Scotch or American when you try the Abasolo. Abasolo have its own identity, okay? And it's Mexico, and it's a lot of great pairings that you can do with the whiskey by itself, and a lot of great cocktails. And salute to you. Good to see you here, Camille. Good to see you again, Isola. We need to repeat it. Once is not enough, and two is too short. All right? Enjoy. Come on, brother.
Well, I will say this. Thank you, Carlos. That was truly amazing. And listen, I've got my entire staff going. We need to do drawings. We need to do our drawings. We have amazing questions. So get ready, y'all. This is the part of the show where we field some questions. I may be able to answer some. I may be able to answer none. But by this point, I've totally ingested my old fashioned, the secret old fashioned I had under the table, and some extra Abasolo whiskey. So with that, here we go. All right, first up, Kurt Clark. Congratulations, you are the winner. And the question is, how does the leather rose compare to the fat bottom Betty? And that one I will give to Joey Drew.
Okay, well, they definitely, I mean, the whole line, they do share a lot of the same componentry. Leather rose is just a little bit more of that spice note will come through. The shape of the cigar does have an amazing effect on what you experience taste-wise. So it kind of, you don't chop the entire head of the cigar off. It just concentrates the flavor down to a smaller range in your palate. And that amplifies things even further. So you'll definitely feel a little bit more of a spice intensity that kind of counteracts the little bit of sweetness at the beginning. But it all ends up in this very, to use Carlos, that round, well-groomed body of flavor, that richness that will maintain throughout. And that's really what I would have to say about the difference between leather rose and fat bottom Betty.
Right, and I think to encapsulate your answer is that the vitolas of the cigars actually enhance certain parts of the flavors that you intake. So the fat bottom Betty, the Sweet Jane, the Crazy Alice are all slightly different, and leather rose as well, and help you enhance and provide a different experience each time. Slightly different, and that's part of the shape of your cigars. So not only is your blend part of it, so is the shape of your cigar. So experiment. That's what I've always said. Enjoy and move and really find what you like. You know. Next up, Steve Mercado. Camille, this is for you. Is there a region in Mexico that produces fine whiskey similar to the regions for tequila? If so, does it have to do with the local grains available? So to reiterate, the question is, are there regional places making whiskey in Mexico?
So we very briefly touched on it when we were explaining it earlier, but if you look at the bottle, it actually doesn't say anywhere a denomination. So I think that we have the NOM, or the Norma Oficial Mexicana, just for distilled spirits. There currently isn't a denomination for whiskey in Mexico. There's 3 brands here available in the US, including us currently, which I wouldn't be surprised if there's more soon. There's more coming out in Mexico. And the other 2 brands that I know of that are available here in the US are both produced in Oaxaca. So it's really just, I think it's like a scenario of we're helping to write the story of the future category.
Well, I believe that's an amazing thing is that we're, and I invite everyone to partake because we're writing that first page in the history. And so welcome, join the entire journey with us, and with that, next question, David Williams, congratulations, you got yourself a cutter. What mezcal goes good with the leather rose? And I'm going to divide that up into 2 people, my friend Joey and then my friend Camille. So Joey, I'm going to let you go first, because ladies have been dominating the show.
I would say that it probably wouldn't be an actual mezcal at all. It would be a rice. I would go raicilla. I tend, from my own palate, I like when I smoke heavier Maduro cigars that bring that rich, that chocolatey tobacco taste and aroma and flavor. I like to mix that with a raicilla, like La Venenosa, which that we drink all the time together. I think the combination of those flavors are absolutely unbelievable. The La Venenosa that I've been drinking recently is almost like a semi-sour cheesecake with a little bit of caramel on it. And then you put a leather rose to that with that chocolatey nuance to it and the tobacco. I think that's an amazing combination to explore. I think a pure mezcal might just be too colliding against each other.
You're missing
Camille.
one thing, Joy.
No, hang on, Carlos. You need to hang on. Camille, I will let you respond.
Well, Carlos might say Cocuy. He's actually my teacher of Venezuelan Cocuy. But I would say, at least from the Montelobos line, I really liked what Joey said. And in our Montelobos line, we have 4 varieties. One that's not available yet in the US, but will be launching soon. It's the Ensamble. And it's basically a blend of 3 agaves. We've got about 50% blend of Cupreata with a little bit of Espadín, and then just a touch of Tobalá on the end. It's made in Puebla, and it has this kind of, I don't know, it's really robust. It is a little bit funky, and it's got almost like this tea-like kind of aromatic note to it. So I would pair that, I loved what Joey was saying about the chocolatey notes. So that's the one that I would pair.
At some point, I would like to see that in my home.
Your house.
I'm just saying. So with that, Carlos, I now give you the floor. After Camille has set her spot, where she's given me the Montelobos, which no one has and no one has seen, but soon we will have this ensemble that's amazing with the leather rose. So, Carlos, what do you say?
Okay, you know that I don't like to be, or I don't discriminate any spirit. We want to go Raicilla. Let's do it. We want to go to the ensemble, the Tovala. Let's do it. We want to go with the Cocuy. Let's do it. But don't miss one of these guys.
What is that? Cocaine?
Chapulín.
The cricket.
Chapulín.
Chapuline. Or if you're lucky enough, you can find chicatana.
Y katanas. Hormiga.
The ant, the big ants.
Oh yeah.
It
Yum.
really pairs really good with all of them. You need to have this thing.
I love the little ants. Those are amazing.
Listen, the local Walmart does not have a open supply of chapulines and or consumable ants. So or cucuy. So for those of you who don't know cucuy, it is the correct me if I'm wrong, the Venezuelan agave-based spirit. So am I wrong?
You're totally right, and it's the authentic, original, ethnic, I will say, spirit from Venezuela. We produce a lot of great rums, but what's really, really authentic from Venezuela is Cocuy.
Boy.
And the bottle that I just showed you is a bottle that the producer rested in a really exotic wood from Venezuela. Unfortunately, it's not commercial, but it happens that we will see each other pretty soon. You are going to have it and you are going to love it. Because it's like when you're having that scotch in a Misurana wood, that kind of exoticness flavor, but with the agave root, man, amazing, delicious. Ah,
That's fantastic. And all I can say is like, we're not going to have access to any of this at any time soon. So I'm going to say is pick your pairings wisely, experiment, try different things, try Montelobo Espadín first, see how you like it, go to the Tovala, and at some point you're going to find some cucuy or some raicilla in your local spot. And especially in Specs in Texas with Izzy, and she's gonna get you some great stuff, and you're gonna like find your amazing pairing. So with that, I'm gonna go to my next question. Rob Wild, how long does it usually take to design a new cigar? And with that, I'm gonna ask Camille. I'm just kidding. It's the Joey. It's the Joey. It's the Joey. Joey, how long does it take to design a new cigar?
A new cigar. Wow. Forever. It's a combination of experimentation that is continually ongoing. Whenever we're working on, you don't even know what it is sometimes. Willie will be working with different tobaccos with the team in Nicaragua to figure out, hey, is this good? Is this something that we're shooting for? Is there a profile that we really want to explore for our own tastes that we feel like we would want to then release to the public? But it's always ongoing. It's never a say, oh, we're going to start on this date and end on that date. It's a continual process. And then even after you finish a particular blend for a new cigar, it doesn't stop there. It's the continuation of maintaining that with a natural product. I mean, cigars and the tobacco that are used are changing year to year, crop to crop, with so many different things influencing them. And so it's important that the people on the ground floor level at the factory, the team, they maintain that, they watch that day in and day out for every blend that we make. It's an amazing effort to do that. And because of Drew Estate, we have probably the most vast portfolio of different blends. It's quite an important task. And like I said, so it's ongoing constantly at all times.
That's listen, I couldn't have said it any better because I have no freaking idea what you're talking about. So other than
That's good, right?
agricultural products and people listen, what people forget is that these cigars come from agricultural products. They change consistently. They change based on environment. They change based on weather. And the best we can do is make our product to the best ability that we can. And that's what mirrors the spirits category to the tobacco category. We are agricultural products. So thank you, Joey, on that. Carlos Ruiz, and he says, he asked Camille, uh, what agaves aside from blue are used to create spirits and what makes each one different or separates one from the other? So I'll let you talk for the next hour because that's a huge question, So, because I think most people understand blue Weber agave and they don't understand everything else. So if you could tell us like in 30 seconds.
Absolutely. Well, very briefly, I mean, agave is like, it's definitely one of the most complex raw materials used to make spirits ever. And like Carlos was saying earlier, it's endemic to the American continent. It's very concentrated in Mexico because Mexico is home to tons and tons of microclimates. Out of about 220 varieties that we know exist, about 190 are endemic to Mexico, but there's agave all throughout the southern United States, through Mexico, Central America, South America, like in Venezuela, in Colombia, in Peru. And about 40 to 50 varieties are used to make agave that we know of right now. But again, this is a category that continues to evolve. And just because a variety is not been used yet or might not have a lot of sugars to make it worth using for mezcal, that doesn't mean that we're not going to see somebody tap into it and explore the potential very soon.
That's true. Ecuador, they also have no a spirit, but they have a beverage that is made out of agave, and it's super pre-Hispanic too. But it's a pulque, kind of pulque, but from Ecuador. And just to close a little bit, a lot of people don't know that also some mezcals are made with a agave Weber, blue agave. You can use to make mezcal too.
Correct.
I would add to that for the layman out there that's trying to wrap their head around all the different agaves that they use to make mezcals, what I have come to notice is that it's very mimicking of the wine industry, where you have a lot of different wine varietals that have their own flavor profiles and unique qualities to them. And that is very much the same with the different mezcal varieties that are in play. So that's why a Tobalá tastes different than a Baril, and tastes different than the Espadín, which is the most prevalent for the most part, to a Tobasiche, a Cuiche, Majacuche. I mean, it just goes on. Then they mimic a Merlot or a Pinot Noir, and the differences between them. And then what makes them different, even below that, is where it is distilled, who distilled it in the process that they use that's unique to their palenque, that brings out some other quality to it that the guy 30 miles down the road who's using the same raw material comes up with something completely unique and different to that other one. And it's amazing. So that's what makes that journey of mezcal and any real endemic spirit such a great place to just keep diving through and exploring more. And it enriches you. It enriches you. It fills you up with so much more cultural knowledge. And then you take it to your home and it becomes part of you and your experience, and you share it with your friends, and then it continues on from there. And I think that's the real special part about it.
Yeah, Joy, you have to say something about the Cocuy. If you want to try something that has some similarities, and Camille might agree with me, some mezcal that has some similarity in some notes with the Cocuy, I would say a Cupriata.
Mm-hmm.
A Cupriata have some of the floral notes of the Cocuy and something else.
Yeah, the Cupriata's got a lot of that floral, that honey, And then there's a little bit of spice that runs through there too to keep it all in play. It's a marvelous variety.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Sorry, Frank, we hijacked your show.
you hijacked my show. It was about Abasolo whiskey. I'm just gonna say that, you know, ancestral corn, and we went into agave.
It was
But
about
because
Mexican spirits.
But because I love agave, I'm not gonna complain 1 second. But
This segment of the program is sponsored by Montelobos.
There you go.
I don't even have the toala. It's like,
Oh my gosh.
this is insulting.
Oh.
Anyway, but at this moment, I want to do something completely different than what we've ever done. And I want to celebrate our producer. The producer of this show is a gentleman by the name of Jack Hayer. You may have heard of him as he is the host of our Freestyle Live every couple of months when we go live and we talk about Drew Estate products. And he's amazing. And he produces Sticks and Sips every week for you guys. And he's truly an amazing guy. And with that, I would ask all of you to sing "Happy Birthday to You." Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jack Hayer. Happy birthday to you. And with that, Jack, salud. And I'm gonna hand over the cake. And listen, that's Jack over there. He's keeping social distance safe. And he's celebrating his birthday today, and we're super honored. And he makes this show happen. And you guys out there watching, he's truly amazing. Congratulations to everyone that submitted their questions. They were phenomenal. I want to thank my guests tonight, which were Camille Austin. Camille, I love you. You are amazing. Keep doing what you do to represent the beauty of Mexican spirits. You know, we never even talked about the fact that you're from Cancun, because I once went to Cancun for a day, and I was there for like a month. So that's a different story. We'll talk about that later. My guest, Joey Drew, my brother. Thank you for waxing poetic about Leather Rose. The very beautiful Isola. Thank you for being part of 66.
Frank.
And then my man from Chicago, which I love and I miss incredibly, brother, because every time I hang with you, we not only have a great time, but we get to learn from each other. So, Carlos, truly an honor to have you on the show as well. I will say this, our beautiful slide here, make sure you support your liquor stores. Go get your Abasolo and your Nyxta at ABC, at Specs, at Benny's, at Total. Go for a new experience. But in this time of COVID-19, make sure you support them. Support your local hospitality as well. And
Uptown Cigars.
Uptown Cigar. And Camille, tell us again the another round, another rally, right?
Another round, another rally. From now until August, we are donating 100% of our global proceeds to another round, as well as Culinaria Mexicana, which is an organization that helps the hospitality industry in Mexico. So every bottle that you buy of Abasolo and Nyxta, you're doing a good deed and putting it back into the industry.
That's amazing. So so salute to you, because you guys are amazing, and I miss you tremendously, because if this was Tales of the Cocktail, we would be running around the streets of the French Quarter con Ivan Saldaña, him telling me, I don't want to drink another cocktail. I want to have a beer. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Which was the most amazing part of being with him and with you. And, back when you were with William Grant, the most amazing thing, and all the wonderful people we've been involved with, and now with Campari as well.
They've been amazing as well. So I can't wait to see you guys again and brindar. Cheers.
Brindar, seguro, because that means it's a toast together, and we will celebrate soon. With that, is there anything left, Jack? Happy birthday to Jack Hare. I will say one more time. That's it. And we're out. Episode 15 in the can. We are done. Good riddance.
Hey everyone,
Salud.
this is Frankie Grace. I'm a cigar and spirits pairing specialist for Drew Estate. I'm also the ambassador of the Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented line of cigars. It is an honor and privilege to represent Drew Estate Cigar Company. Through our rich and innovative history, we truly have created something for everyone's palate. Together, we will travel to different locations to experience cigar pairings with spirits, cocktails, beverages, and food. Along the way, we will explore a few locations, hang in a few bars, learn some history, and truly celebrate our lifestyle. Come join me as we embark on this journey of discovery. Cheers!